In this clip you will learn how to set up a quiz on a Moodle course page. So I'm going to click into the GAA introduction course, and as you can see, editing is turned on. And if you scroll down here to topic, the bottom topic, you'll see I have a heading here called Quizzes in Moodle. So in a moment's time I'm going to add a quiz. But just before I do that, in order to understand where quizzes come from, you first of all ideally should have some questions in the question bank. So down here I have my question bank, and you can see that some questions have been added earlier. So there's 5 questions here under this particular category. So there are the names of the 5 questions, and the question text is visible as well. So I can untick the question text, and all you will see is the summary information about the questions. Anyway, let's go back to the actual quiz and create the quiz. So I'm on the course page. I'm going to go down to the last topic, and under the add an activity or resource option, I'm going to tick the quiz feature and then choose add. So the name of my quiz is just going to be Sample GA Quiz with a Westmeath advice. Now what you'll notice then is that there's a whole list of parameters or options that you can play around with. Some of them are very important when you're giving quizzes to students, for example. So probably the most important one here, if it's a quiz that counts towards an assessment of some sort and you want to give it at a particular time and a particular day, you just go in here and either choose your dates and enable the particular setting. So whatever date here, we'll say in September 2018 I want to give the quiz, I could do that. So I'm just going to untick that just for safety's sake. And I can set a time limit for the quiz. And then when the quiz expires, when the time expires, you have some choices here. The one I always use is to let open attempts be automatically submitted. So if a student is in the middle of a question and the time is up, the question submits. There are other choices. And then there's lots of other elements to it that are important. You can say under restrictions require a password on the day. Okay, so it means just make sure say everyone is in the room and there's no one externally maybe logging in unknown to you. So they are some of the restrictions you can enforce. So it's very comprehensive and very powerful. So anyway, I'm going to save and return to course. So at this stage all I have done is I've given my quiz a name, and I will say I've set my date and time and maybe a password among the things I've just skimmed over there very quickly. So as of yet, there are no questions in the quiz. So to add some questions to the quiz, you just double click on the quiz, and there's an option here to edit the quiz. So what happens next is that you can add some questions. So the way to add questions is to click on the drop down here on the right hand side, and if you want to, you could write a new question, but I would rarely do that. What I always do in advance is add my questions to the question bank that I showed a couple of seconds ago, and then if I'm well organized, I will have various categories which I haven't gone over in any of the earlier videos, but you can break the questions into various categories and then pick questions from some or all of those categories. So in this case I have just got 5 questions that are relating to Westmeath GAA. So if I want all 5 of them, I can simply tick the top box, the button there, and it'll tick all 5 questions. If I just want some of them, I can tick them one at a time, etc. So I'll pick all 5 of them. So I'm going to add all 5 questions to the quiz, and there the 5 questions appear, and the amount of marks I want to allocate to each question I can now choose. Okay, so I can override whatever's in there. So if I think this question is worth 10 marks, I can just simply click on the pencil symbol there and put in 10. If I think the next question is worth 5 marks, so I need to save, by the way. That's one of the things you may forget to do. So then press return to make sure it's saved, that first question. Then I go in to edit the second question, give it 5 marks, and so on. And each time just press the return key to make sure it saves. So that's how to give different allocation of marks to each question in this particular quiz. So when I'm finished all of that editing phase, I need to save. Okay, that's the most important thing to do, is to save. And I can add more questions if I like. What I'm going to do is go back to the actual course page again, and I'm going to show you how to, as the teacher, in the teacher role, how to actually preview the quiz. This is very important. If you're doing your first few quizzes and you aren't sure how the whole thing works, one of the most important things to do is to kind of get a, you can preview each question, but in the teacher role, you can attempt the quiz. It doesn't count or anything. It has no value in that sense, but it's an important thing to do just to make sure everything is as you anticipate it to be. So the first question is about when Westmeath won their first All-Ireland minor title. I think it was 95. Okay, if I want to then go on to the next question, I can either click here, next page, or I can click on question 2. And the year Westmeath won the Under-21 title, the venue was the Gaelic Grounds in Limerick, I think. Next page. Westmeath's first All-Star. I'm going to give a wrong answer for this. And go on to question 4. The fourth question is about the number of Westmeath titles won since the year 2000. I think it's still Gary Castle. I could be wrong on that one. And now I go on to question 5. Okay, and again, I think the first Westmeath school to win a Hogan Cup title was the Carmelite College. So I'll finish. That's my last question done. If I want to now, I can navigate back to some of the earlier questions. Okay, I can navigate back to the earlier questions and make changes if I see fit. But when I get to question 5, as you can see there, after question 5, there's the option to finish the attempt. Okay, so that's important. Obviously, if the quiz is set for 5 minutes or so many minutes, then whether the user or the student presses this button or not, the quiz will be submitted. So I finish my attempt. Moodle tells me that the answers have been saved, and then there's the final button here. I can still return to the attempt to make last second changes, but if I'm happy with my work to date, I then will submit and finish. So here it tells you that you won't be able to change the answers. That's fair enough. And because this is a practice quiz, Moodle will instantly give me the feedback, and I can retake it again in 5 minutes time if I like. So I was right in the first 2 questions, and Westmeath's first All-Star wasn't Desi Dolan. It was a guy called David Kilcoyne, who's a hurler, and I hope that's right as well. Okay, Gary Castle, according to me, are the most victorious team since 2000, and Carmelite College. Again, I'm open to correction on those. Anyway, I've reviewed I've reviewed my quiz, and I can finish the review. So if I was a student taking this, I finished the review, and it tells me I got 17 out of 18 marks. Okay, and I can read, because I didn't just allow students one attempt. There can be as many reattempts as need be. So that's how to add a quiz to a Moodle course page, and then to preview the quiz, we'll say, as a teacher from the perspective of a student. So here again, finally, there's the quiz down the bottom. So that concludes this clip.